Miyamoto Musashi was 13 years old when he killed his first man. He wasn't an experienced warrior. He was just a skinny boy with trembling hands and his heart exploding in his chest. But in that moment, something inside him awakened. A flame that most people spend their entire lives without ever igniting. By age 29, he had won 60 mortal duels. Never lost, never backed down. And here's the detail that will change your perspective. Musashi wasn't special by nature. He became special through a discipline so brutal, so absolute, that only 1% of human beings can endure. What you're about to discover isn't cheap motivation. It's the raw truth about how true warriors are forged. Musashi left a legacy of teachings that reveal exactly how he transformed a frightened boy into the greatest swordsman Japan has ever known. And these principles work today, right now, for those who have the courage to apply them. Prepare yourself to understand what truly separates the weak from the invincible. Everyone talks about wanting success. They dream about becoming the best version of themselves. But when the alarm goes off at 5 in the morning and the bed feels warm, suddenly those dreams fade away. This is where most people fail before they even begin. Musashi understood something that modern society tries to hide from you. Greatness demands payment up front. There's no installment plan, no discounts, no special deals for those who feel tired or unmotivated. The universe doesn't care about your feelings. It only responds to your actions. Think about your own life right now. How many times have you said you'd start tomorrow? How many gym memberships have you paid for without using? How many books sit unread on your shelf? Each of these represents a moment where you chose comfort over growth. And here's the brutal truth. Every time you make that choice, you're training yourself to be weak. The ancient samurai had a concept called shugyo, the lifelong journey of self-refinement through hardship. They didn't wait until they felt ready. They didn't need motivation speeches or inspiring quotes on social media. They simply did what needed to be done, day after day, whether they felt like it or not. Most people believe discipline is about forcing yourself to do things you hate. That's completely wrong. Real discipline is about loving yourself enough to do what's necessary, even when every fiber of your being screams for you to stop. It's about understanding that temporary discomfort creates permanent strength. When Musashi was developing his skills, he didn't train only when inspiration struck. He trained in rain, snow, and scorching heat. He trained when he was injured. He trained when he was exhausted. He trained when every logical part of his mind told him to rest. Why? Because he knew his enemies wouldn't care about his excuses during a real fight. Your life works the same way. Your goals don't care if you're tired. Your dreams don't pause because you had a rough day at work. The competition isn't taking breaks while you recover from your latest binge-watching session. While you're making excuses, someone else is getting better. Someone else is paying the price you're refusing to pay. But here's what nobody tells you about this price. It gets easier to pay over time. The first morning you wake up early feels impossible. The second is slightly better. By the 30th, your body starts to crave it. You're literally rewiring your brain to prefer challenge over comfort. This is the secret the top 1% discovered long ago. The price isn't just physical effort. It's giving up the person you used to be. It's abandoning the comfortable lies you've been telling yourself. It's facing the mirror and admitting that your current results are the direct consequence of your current habits. That's a bitter pill most people never swallow. Musashi paid his price in blood, sweat, and countless hours of solitary practice. You don't need to fight duels to the death, but you do need to kill your old self. The version of you that hits snooze. The version that quits when things get hard. The version that blames circumstances instead of taking responsibility. That person must die for the warrior within to emerge. This brings us to an uncomfortable question that leads directly into what separates those who merely try from those who actually transform. There's something strange happening in modern society. People actively avoid any form of discomfort, yet they wonder why they feel so empty inside. They take the elevator instead of stairs. They drive around parking lots looking for the closest spot. They keep their homes at the perfect temperature year-round, and then they complain about feeling weak and unmotivated. Musashi had a different approach. He deliberately sought out hardship. Not because he enjoyed pain, but because he understood a fundamental law of human nature. We grow only through resistance. A muscle that's never challenged stays weak. A mind that's never tested stays dull. A spirit that's never pushed stays fragile. This concept goes against everything you've been taught. Modern culture sells you comfort as the ultimate goal. Buy this product and life gets easier. Use this service and save time. Download this app and avoid effort. The message is clear. Suffering is bad. Comfort is good. But what if they've got it backwards? Look at nature for a moment. Trees that grow in harsh, windy conditions develop stronger roots and thicker trunks. Trees protected in greenhouses remain weak and collapse when finally exposed to real weather. The same principle applies to humans. Protection creates weakness. Challenge creates strength. The samurai understood this deeply. They would practice standing under freezing waterfalls. They would meditate in extreme heat. They would go days without food while maintaining their training. These weren't punishments or some form of masochism. They were deliberately building resilience for when life demanded it. Now, before you think this means you need to torture yourself, understand the distinction. There's smart suffering and stupid suffering. Stupid suffering is pointless pain that leads nowhere. Smart suffering is calculated discomfort that builds capacity. Working out until you can barely walk is smart suffering. Your muscles break down and rebuild stronger. Staying up all night playing video games and feeling tired the next day is stupid suffering. It builds nothing. Most people experience only stupid suffering. They suffer from anxiety because they avoid difficult conversations. They suffer from health problems because they avoid exercise. They suffer financially because they avoid learning new skills. This is the worst kind of suffering because it's permanent and creates no growth. Voluntary suffering is different. You choose it. You control it. You direct it toward a specific goal. When you do hard things by choice, you remove fear's power over you. You prove to yourself that discomfort won't kill you. In fact, it makes you stronger. Here's a simple test. What's one thing you've been avoiding because it seems hard? Maybe it's having a difficult conversation with someone. Maybe it's starting that business you've been planning for years. Maybe it's just going to the gym consistently. Whatever it is, that avoidance is costing you more than facing it would. The warrior mindset says, run toward the fire, not away from it. When you see something that scares you, that's exactly where you need to go. Not recklessly, but deliberately, with preparation and purpose. Because on the other side of that fear lies the next version of yourself. Musashi fought his first duel at 13. Imagine the fear. But he didn't let that fear make his decisions. He walked into it anyway, and each subsequent duel became slightly less terrifying because he had proven to himself that he could survive. You're facing your own duels every single day. They might not be life or death, but they're just as important for your growth. The duel against your alarm clock, the duel against your cravings, the duel against your excuses. Win these small duels, and you build the strength for bigger ones. This understanding of voluntary hardship naturally leads us to examine something most people completely misunderstand about high performance. By the way, if you want to go deeper and turn discipline into a way of life, check out the KMA method. It's a concise, practical guide designed to sharpen your mind, strengthen your will, and build unbreakable consistency in just 5 minutes a day. The link is in the first pinned comment below. Let me destroy a myth right now. Fearless people don't exist. That warrior who seems unshakable, he feels fear. That athlete performing under massive pressure, she feels fear. The difference isn't in the feeling, it's in what they do with it. Musashi felt fear before every single one of his 60 duels. How do we know? Because fear is a biological response hardwired into every human being. Your body doesn't ask permission to activate your survival mechanisms. But here's what separates legends from everyone else. They learn to use fear as fuel instead of letting it become a barrier. Think about the last time you felt genuinely afraid. Maybe before a presentation, maybe before asking someone on a date, maybe before making a big decision. What happened in your body? Your heart raced. Your palms got sweaty. Your mind started generating worst-case scenarios. This is your nervous system preparing you for action. Most people interpret these signals as "I'm not ready" or "This is dangerous, I should back out." They treat fear as a stop sign. But what if it's actually a green light? What if your body is simply getting ready to perform at a higher level? Ancient warriors knew this secret. They called it different names in different cultures, but the principle remained the same. Fear is energy. You can either let it paralyze you or you can channel it into focused action. It's the same energy either way. The only difference is direction. Watch a cat before it pounces. It becomes completely still. Every muscle tenses. Its pupils dilate. It's experiencing what we would call fear or excitement. The physiological state is identical. Then, in one explosive moment, all that energy releases into perfect action. The cat doesn't think, "I'm too scared to hunt." It uses that heightened state to become more effective. You have this same capability, but society has taught you to suppress it. From childhood, you were told to calm down and relax whenever you showed signs of intense emotion. Well-meaning adults tried to protect you from stress, but they accidentally taught you that these feelings are bad and should be avoided. Here's a radical reframe. Those butterflies in your stomach before something important? That's not weakness. That's your system optimizing for peak performance. Your body is diverting blood flow to your muscles. Your brain is releasing chemicals that sharpen focus. Your senses are becoming more acute. You're literally becoming superhuman for a brief window. Professional fighters understand this better than almost anyone. Before a fight, they're terrified. They know they're about to experience pain. They know they might lose. But they've trained themselves to recognize that fear as the signal that they're ready. The absence of fear would mean they don't care about the outcome. Now apply this to your daily life. That nervous feeling before you make a cold call for your business? That's not a sign to procrastinate. That's your system saying, "This matters? Let's perform." That anxiety before you start your workout? Not a reason to skip it. It's your body preparing to push beyond previous limits. The key is action. Fear transforms into power only through movement. If you feel afraid and you freeze, the energy turns inward and becomes anxiety, panic, stress. But if you feel afraid and you act anyway, that same energy propels you forward with incredible force. Musashi didn't wait for fear to disappear before drawing his sword. He drew his sword despite the fear, or more accurately, because of it. He had trained himself to recognize that elevated state as the optimal moment to strike. When your fear is highest, your potential is highest too. Start practicing this today with small things. Notice when you feel that resistance before doing something challenging. Instead of interpreting it as "I'm not ready," try thinking, "My system is preparing me for something important." Then act immediately before your rational mind can generate more excuses. Understanding fear this way changes everything. But there's another enemy that's even more dangerous precisely because it doesn't feel like an enemy at all. Comfort is the silent killer of potential. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't feel dangerous. In fact, it feels wonderful. That's exactly why it's so lethal. Every great warrior tradition in history recognized this threat. The Spartans forced their children to sleep on rough beds. Buddhist monks owned almost nothing. Samurai practiced simplicity even when they could afford luxury. They all understood something crucial. Comfort isn't rest, it's rust. Your brain has one primary job: keep you alive. Not happy, not successful, not fulfilled, just breathing. And from your brain's perspective, the safest path is always the one you've already survived. New challenges? Risky. Staying exactly where you are? Safe. This is why change feels so hard, even when you logically know it's necessary. Comfort feeds this safety mechanism. Every time you choose the easy path, you're training your brain that survival means avoiding challenge. You're literally strengthening the neural pathways that keep you stuck. Eventually, even thinking about change triggers massive resistance because your entire nervous system has been programmed to protect your current state. Look around at your life right now. How many comfort traps have you fallen into? Maybe you stay in a job you hate because it's familiar. Maybe you avoid meeting new people because your current social circle feels safe. Maybe you eat the same foods, watch the same shows, follow the same routine day after day. This isn't living. It's existing on autopilot. Musashi could have stopped after his 10th victory. He had proven himself. He could have found a comfortable position with a wealthy lord, taught students, lived an easy life. Instead, he kept seeking out stronger opponents. He kept pushing into unknown territory. He kept choosing the harder path. Why? Because he knew that the moment he got comfortable, he would start declining. This applies to everything: your muscles, your mind, your skills, your relationships. The moment you stop challenging them, they start deteriorating. There's no plateau in nature. You're either growing or dying. Comfort is just another word for the beginning of decay. Modern life makes this trap easier to fall into than ever before. You can order food with one tap. Entertainment streams endlessly into your home. You can work, socialize, and shop without leaving your couch. Every friction point has been removed. Every challenge has been smoothed away. And we wonder why depression and anxiety are skyrocketing. Your soul needs resistance the way your lungs need air. Without something to push against, you can't grow. Without obstacles to overcome, you have no way to measure your progress or prove your worth to yourself. Comfort removes all resistance, and in doing so, it removes all meaning. Think about your proudest moments. Were any of them comfortable? Did you feel proud after a day of lying on the couch? Or were your proudest moments when you overcame something difficult? When you pushed through pain? When you achieved something you weren't sure you could do? Every single meaningful memory you have came from discomfort. Yet we spend our entire lives trying to avoid it. We save money so we can be more comfortable. We buy products that make life easier. We arrange our schedules to minimize stress. All while the things that would actually make us happy, challenge, growth, accomplishment, require the exact opposite approach. Here's the practical application. Start deliberately choosing discomfort. Take cold showers. Wake up earlier than necessary. Have conversations you've been avoiding. Do workouts that push your limits. Not because these things are fun, but because they break the comfort addiction. Each time you choose discomfort voluntarily, you're reclaiming power from your primitive brain. You're proving that you control your actions, not your feelings. You're building the psychological muscle that lets you do hard things when they actually matter. The warrior doesn't fear discomfort. He seeks it out like a prospector hunting for gold, because he knows that on the other side of every uncomfortable moment lies a stronger version of himself. Comfort produces nothing. Challenge produces champions. This principle, when truly understood and applied consistently, creates something that most people only dream about but never achieve. There's a question that haunts everyone who wants to improve. How do extraordinary people maintain their edge year after year? The answer isn't what you expect. It's not talent. It's not luck. It's not even particularly complicated. It's routine. Musashi won 60 duels not because he was the most talented swordsman in Japan. Others had more natural ability. He won because he showed up to train every single day regardless of circumstances. Rain or shine, sick or healthy, motivated or not. The routine was absolute. This sounds boring, doesn't it? We want the secret to be exciting. Some hidden technique, some revolutionary insight. But the truth is far more mundane and far more powerful. Consistent daily action in alignment with your goals will beat talent every single time. Let me explain why this works. Your brain operates on patterns. Every action you take creates a neural pathway. The first time you do something, it's difficult because there's no pathway yet. But each repetition strengthens that pathway until eventually the action becomes automatic. This is why habits feel effortless once established, but require massive willpower to start. Most people completely misunderstand motivation. They wait to feel motivated before taking action. They believe the sequence goes: motivation leads to action, leads to results. But successful people know it actually works backwards. Action leads to results, leads to motivation. You must act first. even when you don't feel like it. This is where routine becomes your greatest weapon. A solid routine removes decision-making from the equation. You don't debate whether to train. You don't negotiate with yourself about when to work. The routine decides. You simply execute. This saves massive amounts of mental energy that most people waste on internal arguments. Here's what a warrior routine actually looks like. First, it starts before you want to start. Early morning creates an immediate advantage because you're accomplishing things while others sleep. You prove to yourself every single day that you're different. Second, it includes physical challenge. Your body and mind aren't separate systems. Training your body trains your mind simultaneously. Third, it has non-negotiable elements. These are things you do no matter what. Missing them isn't an option you consider. The specific activities matter less than the consistency. Someone who does 20 push-ups every morning for a year will transform more than someone who does an intense workout once a month. The magic isn't in any single session. It's in the accumulation. Small actions compound into massive results over time. Think about water dripping on stone. One drop does nothing. 1,000 drops do nothing. But 1,000,000 drops over years, they carve canyons. Your daily routine is that water. Each day might seem insignificant, but years of daily action reshape your entire life. Musashi didn't become a legend in one dramatic moment. He became a legend through 10,000 ordinary mornings, where he chose to train instead of sleep in, through countless afternoons practicing when he could have relaxed, through endless evenings studying strategy when entertainment beckoned. The legendary duel with Kojiro was just the visible result of invisible daily work. Now, building this kind of routine requires understanding something most people miss. You must start smaller than you think necessary. Trying to change everything at once guarantees failure. Your current routine, even if it's destructive, is comfortable. Your brain will fight any massive change. But small changes slip under the radar. Want to become someone who exercises daily? Don't start with hour-long workouts. Start with 5 minutes. Want to read more? Don't commit to a book per week. Commit to 1 page per day. The goal isn't the 5 minutes or the 1 page. The goal is establishing the pattern. Once the pattern exists, expanding it becomes natural. This is how you build a warrior's life in the modern world. Not through dramatic transformation, through boring consistency, through showing up when you don't feel like it, through keeping promises to yourself even when nobody else would know if you broke them. Your routine is your character made visible. It's the daily vote you cast for the type of person you want to become. Every morning you wake up early, you're voting for discipline. Every workout you complete, you're voting for strength. Every difficult task you tackle first, you're voting for courage. Eventually, those votes add up to an undeniable result. The path Musashi walked isn't mysterious. It's simply difficult. Not complicated, just demanding. The principles are clear. Pay the price others won't pay. Seek out voluntary hardship. Transform fear into power. Reject comfort. And build routines that compound into greatness. These aren't secrets. They're just truths most people refuse to accept. The question isn't whether these principles work. History has proven they do, repeatedly, across cultures and centuries. The only question that matters is, will you apply them? Or will you be like everyone else, understanding the path but refusing to walk it? The choice, as it always has been, is entirely yours. Look, I'm not going to lie to you. Living by these principles isn't glamorous. There are mornings when I don't want to get up early. There are days when comfort looks really, really appealing. But here's what I've learned after years of studying these warrior philosophies. The pain of discipline is temporary, but the pain of regret lasts forever. Every time I've chosen the easy path, I've paid for it later with that hollow feeling of knowing I could have been more. And every time I've pushed through the resistance, even when it sucked, I've gone to bed as a slightly better version of myself. Musashi's teachings aren't about becoming some perfect superhuman. They're about refusing to settle for less than what you're capable of becoming. The world is full of people with potential who never did anything with it. Don't be one of them. Start today. Start small if you have to, but start. Because in 5 years, you'll either be grateful you began this journey, or you'll be making the same excuses you're making right now. The sword is in your hand. What you do with it is up to you.